David Koresh. So he led the branch, but this is the Waco thing. I recently actually did a video on it, an episode, Uncertain Terms. There were many times that if you had suspicion of this dude doing some fucky shit, like he would apparently literally regularly run a very specific trail that was a public road, like the side of a public road. He would just run this very specific trail, and they could have arrested him then, but instead they decided to just bomb the fucking compound essentially and set it on fire, killed a bunch of kids in the process. This one is one that, like, I'm really torn on what happened here, right? Because this was a cult that he had going on, right? There was some fucky shit going on apparently behind the scenes, and it could have turned into another fucking the People's Temple Jim Jones moment, right? You put this person in this redeeming place, so to speak, because of how poorly the standoff was handled and for how long it was handled, and knowing that there were children involved, children who didn't have an understanding or choice of what was happening to them being inside, you know, the Branch Davidians. And this guy, like, certainly things were not right, but it, you know, two wrongs don't make a right in this situation. So I think that's kind of, I don't know, it leaves me quite conflicted when I have to look at David, because I think what happened, what they were doing was not okay, but I also believe that how the government handled things was quite inappropriate. But yeah, this does not add up. They were stockpiling guns, gunpowder, all this kind of stuff. See, again, okay, remember how we had to talk about, like, cult leaders, they don't look like any type of way? This is the dude. Granted, this is like the late 80s, early 90s. This dude doesn't look crazy. He doesn't look like he is running a cult. He looks like, yeah, the guy on the right looks a little angrier, but he himself, David, doesn't look any sort of way that would, I think, bring you alarm. Like, he looks like a normal dude, which is all the worse when you go back to retroactively take a look at what happened in the situation, right? Because everyone has, like, the photo, right? Like, right, it's Charles Manson, right? That's, sure, he looks a little bit hippie-like, but there's, like, oh god, there's this one crazy looking photo of Charles Manson that people like to use from after he was already behind bars, I think. People like to use, like, this. Like, they'll show, like, this, where you got, like, the crazy look in the eye. They'll show all these crazy fucking photos of him when you go to talk about him, but here, like, there. That's, like, he doesn't look, like, that looks like a cult leader, right? Like, this looks, oh, it's a stereotypical cult leader. That's the way it looks. But a lot of the times, they don't look fucking crazy. They don't look like they were a cult leader. If, like, you know, there's a way a cult leader is supposed to look, of course. This looks like a normal dude. He doesn't look like anything. So he claimed, this is his claim as a cult leader, that he had cracked the code on the 7 seals in the book of Revelation, which predicted events leading to the apocalypse. So this was, you know, they're stockpiling weapons and everything like that to get ready for the afterlife, essentially. That's, like, what was going on. At least Comet and all that shit, that you probably can make the assumption that something's going on. But yeah, so this led to a 51-day standoff. So later on, one of the things that happened is their compound was set on fire, right? And it was something that was long debated, that the police, the ATF, said they did not use pyrotechnics, which, as I talked about in the episode on my channel, that they later, it literally was at 2012, 2014, something like that, they finally admitted that they did in fact use pyrotechnics, and that when they used the pyrotechnics on the compound, it caught on fire, which obviously led to people dying. It certainly sounds like this wasn't gonna go well. This last sentence in particular, right? He told his followers that the Lord willed the Davidians to build an army of God. As a result, they started stockpiling weapons. Like, you can't tell me that was gonna lead to anything good, right? I do not believe for one fucking second that this would not turn into a bad thing, right? So sure, the ATF seeing someone's buying large amounts of fucking guns, and I'm sure ammo and everything like that. Yes, 6 dozen people died. Yeah, 72 people. They killed 72 people. I don't remember how many of those were actually children, but it was a completely mishandled situation. Point is, yes, this Army of God thing, it's probably not safe. They probably should have taken a look at it. It sounds like they tried to, but they did like they were like, there's a good way, a safe way to do this, and there's the dangerous way to do this. And every single time they chose the fucking dangerous route. 6 dozen people. So while I believe that this cult probably was going to turn into something bad, and certainly they caught it early, but to kill 72 people to also catch it early, I don't know about that. So Allie gave me this one. And of course, it's a name I cannot fucking pronounce ever. I'm so terrible pronunciation. It's this guy who many have called him the narcissistic guru. I believe he is an Indian cult leader. So here's this guy. This guy is an Indian cult leader. Bhagwan Shri Raginish. I think you guys know. I cannot pronounce names. So this fellow apparently is a commune in Oregon. So he traveled around India spreading unconventional and controversial ideas about spirituality. And among his teachings was the notion that sex was the first step towards achieving superconsciousness. And by 1964, he started conducting mediation camps and recruiting followers. And 2 years later, he resigned from his professorship to focus more fully on spreading his spiritual teachings. And he was given the name the Sex Guru, which is, I guess someone tried to assassinate him. His followers took new Indian names, dressed in orange and red clothing, and participated in group sessions that sometimes involved both violence and sexual promiscuity. So he fled to the United States in 1981 with 2,000 disciples, settling on a 100-square-acre-mile ranch in central Oregon called Rancho Rajneesh. He started to build their own city. Disapproving neighbors contacted local officials. They tried to stop, but he actually won in court, I guess. And as per usual, bad things happen. They soon turned to more drastic measures to achieve their ends, which included murder, wiretapping, voter fraud, arson, and mass salmonella poisoning in 1984 that affected more than 700 people. After his commune leaders fled to avoid prosecution for their crimes in 1985, the police arrested him, who himself was trying to flee the United States to escape charges of immigration fraud. During that trial, he pleaded guilty of immigration charges, realizing that a plea bargain was the only way he'd be allowed to return to India. Yeah. So he died in 1990 of heart failure. That's apparently that guy. So apparently some of his luxurious moments is he built luxurious buildings, including a 160-room hotel, and acquired a fleet of 93 Rolls Royces. I'm gonna be honest, I would like to acquire just one Rolls Royce would be really fucking cool, you know? Like, he had 93. 93! What the fuck? I don't fucking... And one of his students apparently founded a school called Sky Dancing Tantra that promoted naked yoga. So that was a thing too. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, he definitely more like the sexual assault guru, probably. I know that if you're able to be a cult leader doing some cult things, and this guy's a sex cult leader, he's probably a bit of a narcissist, probably thinks quite highly of himself, you know? It's to no one's surprise. Going back to this stuff, probably acts larger than life. I mean, 93 Rolls fucking Royces will do that to you. What's his early child life like? Was he rich? Were his parents rich? I don't see anything. Disruptive behavior, taking time off from studies. I see nothing here that explicitly says his parents were like uber wealthy or anything. Scam. I sense a fucking scam if you can buy $29 million of Rolls Royces. Scam. I just need to know. What kind of flexing is he trying to attempt? I don't fucking know, to be honest. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, I wanted to take a look at some cult leaders, look at some narcissistic stuff, and see like if there's kind of a mesh. It's not to say that if you or someone you know is a narcissist, that means they're going to be a cult leader. I'm just curious, like, it's something I've always been curious about, because it's like they say certain types of people are drawn to like certain positions in life, right? Like there was something, what is it, that most serial killers are not Gemini, but they were like Sagittarius or something. Like there's all these weird poses, like there's all these weird like studies about just obscenely weird shit, and it just gets me really curious. And this is definitely just one of those kinds of moments. Is like, not all narcissists are cult leaders, but many cult leaders are narcissistic. But yeah, if you have a friend who's a narcissist, maybe you're a narcissist.
Your feet